Hey,
Hey, Alfred, can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Awesome. Good to see you, Alfred.
It's good to see you too.
Absolutely. So, how's everything going over there?
Everything is going great in Watsonville.
Yeah, Watsonville. That's in California.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, very nice. I envy you. We're stuck here in New Jersey, the worst place in the world. So, you know,
Doesn't sound too bad to me.
you've never lived here, but I like where is Watsonville by? Is that near LA or?
Watsonville is near San Francisco. It's south of San Francisco and south of Santa Cruz.
Oh, okay, so I've been to San Francisco. It's very nice place. Everything's just very nice there. I don't know. It's just
It's a
I
good
was like,
place
how
to
can
be.
I was like, how can a place be this nice? I was like, what? I was like, how did they get away with this here? Yeah,
It's the weather.
yeah. The weather is perfect all the time. So all right, Alfred. So I gave your album a listen. Um,
Thank you.
yes. So I just got a couple of questions I'm going to ask you. So I'm just going to go over them.
Go
So
ahead.
and we're recording this. So what I'm going to do, Alfred, is I'm going to make a separate episode for this. So I'm going to put it on pretty soon, probably when we're done. I'll probably put this on over the weekend. I'll put this on the channel. So I'll put this
Okay, cool.
as a standalone thing. So okay. So let me find my questions here. Okay. Talking about BullVine, um, how did you guys meet? How did you and it's two of you guys, right?
Well, now it's down to one because he left the band, but we
Oh,
met when we were in a recording class at Cabrillo College.
oh, okay. So, well, are you like, is he not going to be with the band anymore? Are you going to like find something new or?
Yeah, I've already found somebody new. His name is Justin. I met him through a friend of mine that I had at Cabrillo.
Okay. So, so how did you form this? Like, did both of you guys form this, or was it just you and you kind of just got him along, or like, what's the
Uh,
story behind Bullvine?
the story behind BullVine is pretty simple. We met back in 2013, 2012. And in 2013, I had left school and I was in a different group called Hologram Sun for a while. And after Hologram Sun ended, or my tenure with Hologram Sun ended, I went and got in contact with Luke to form BullVine, and we formed BullVine, and that's how it worked.
Okay. And how did you come up with the name? What is Bullvine? What does it mean?
Uh, it was originally supposed to be a doom band,
Okay.
so I decided to put Bull and Vine together, and that's what it came out with. I was thinking of the most doomy
Yeah.
name that I could possibly think of, and BullVine came up with it.
All right. And how did the sound evolve? It seems like more of sort of an experimental, almost a little bit proggy kind of death metal thing now. How did it evolve to that as opposed to really slow doom? I mean, how did it evolve to the sound it has now? Like,
Uh,
why did you go that direction?
Music for BullVine comes out of the ether. It isn't necessarily thought out, 6 years in advance or 6 months in advance or in a rehearsal room. So whatever I'm playing or whatever my other guitarist is playing is what the sound is.
Okay.
There is no plan like, oh, we're going to go from a 4/4 time signature to a 12. We're basically play it by ear. Our
Yeah.
entire
Right. It just
musical
goes.
experiences by ear and by improvisation.
Okay. I could dig that. So like what do you, what do you play? Like what are you doing for
I
the
play
band?
guitar.
You say you play
I'm
guitar.
I'm a guitarist and a vocalist.
Okay. And the other guy and the other what was like the other guy doing?
He was doing guitar as well.
Okay. And you guys had electronic drums, right? That was like sample
Yeah,
drums.
that was the
Yeah.
main thing because we don't have a drummer. We decided to program the drums and then play the drums through the PA system.
Okay. Yeah, drummers are I don't know how it is over there, but drummers around here are just impossible to find. I mean, they're amazing.
Same.
Yeah, it's
It took me
everywhere.
5 years to get in contact with the
Yeah.
drummer.
Yeah, and then when you find one, the guy is a complete loser. Yeah, it's been that way as long as I can remember. For the past 20 years, drummers have just been impossible to deal with and to find. And when you do find one, they don't have jobs or something. It's just like, you end up paying for the rehearsal all the time. It's a pain. I can never find one that just works. So so yeah, so it's all over. That makes me feel better anyway. Um, so most importantly, Al, what are the music influences behind BullVine? What are your main? What did you grow up with? What influenced you to make?
I grew up listening to Black Flag and the Circle Jerks. I
Yeah.
didn't start getting into metal until I was like about 18 years old. And when I
Okay.
got involved in metal, it was grindcore,
Yeah.
like Cretin.
Did you ever like Anal Cunt and stuff like that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I listened to Anal Cunt.
Yes, that was back in the '90s. That was I just loved that. 2-second songs, just a whole album full of that stuff. That was so good back then. So Black Flag. I think there's a lot of My War like side B in your music.
My War was one of the first singles that I got involved with Black Flag. That and The Process of Weeding Out were the first two Black Flag singles that I really got into.
Yeah. Side B is like I think there's a lot like side B is people. I know people that have tattoos that just say My War Side B because it's a musical happening that just was sort of like this perfect storm. I think it's one of like the first indications of like sort of like modern doom metal in a way. Side B, it's a
Yep.
weird thing. It just can't be replicated. It just happened, and it's a really special thing. And
I know
I
when
definitely
Side
hear.
B came out, a lot of people didn't get it
Yeah, I think a lot
at
of people
first.
didn't get it. Yeah, but
I
it's a
mean,
special
it
thing.
was nothing like Frick. I'm trying to think of the song, but it was nothing. The album, it's the album cover of a completely destroyed mirror. I'm trying to figure out what
Oh yeah, the one
album.
where he's punching it. Yeah, which one is
Yeah,
that? Yeah, he's like punching it. Yeah, I forget what that one's called. I know what you're talking about though. Yeah.
yeah. It
Uh,
wasn't anything like the earlier stuff, which is why
yeah.
people kind of got turned off from it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like there's real like Black Flag kind of snobs that don't like when Henry Rollins joined. I mean, they like the original. They like the guy from the guy from the Circle Jerks, right? What was his name? Keith Morris.
Keith Morris, yeah.
Keith Morris. I think a lot of people like his Black Flag, or they like that other guy that was in it. There's people that definitely like they're kind of like, oh, it got bad when Henry Rollins joined, but it's its own thing. It's Greg Ginn. It's his sound, and he's a unique person, and like there's no one that plays guitar as just disorganizedly and just chaotically as Greg Ginn does. I mean, whatever he
And
there.
Greg Ginn's guitar playing as a rhythm player, it's pretty amazing what he can do.
Yes.
But as a lead player, it kind of sounds like a lawnmower.
I think that's what he had in mind though.
Yeah,
He just took everything musically, everything, all the rules people follow, and he just made his own thing. And that's why, Black Flag is really just such an underrated band. People just think of Henry Rollins and stuff, but it's so much more than that. And I think Greg Ginn has just made like a sound there that, I see a lot of influence you're in your music, definitely listening to that in Greg Ginn. Definitely
thanks.
the chaoticness of your music. It's a special thing. I think it's a really unique thing what you guys are doing. So
Thanks.
that's one thing I noticed. I'm like, oh, this is very different. You guys are doing it's DIY what you guys are doing, and I think a lot of people are just trying to like get this polished sound, even with home equipment. I think people are just trying to get this polished sound, and like they're just losing kind of like the real feel of the music. So it's a good thing you guys are
We
doing.
only have so much time in the world. If you
True.
have the tools to do something, do it.
Yeah, just do it. Well, the art is there. Well, the creativity is there. Instead of like, people could just sit there in front of their computer and just edit things forever and get nothing done. Just like get it done, get it out, and it's there. That's how it should work. So
Is it clipping? Kind of clipping, but it's when it comes to mixing, the least amount of clip that you get, the better off it is, and that's basically what I shoot for whenever I make my recordings, is trying to get as little clip as possible. But if the clip is there, sometimes it sounds good. Like for example, with the song "Mental Breakdown," it sounds good clipped to me.
right. Yeah, it's a unique sound, guys. Definitely very DIY. I like it. So, talking about the album, your album artwork, it's each cover is like really unique. Who's doing the artwork?
I do the album artwork.
You're doing the artwork. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the significance of the latest cover? What's going on there? What does that mean to you?
I always wanted to do a collage for album artwork, and I finally found the right set of magazines for the collage. It's taken from an old National Geographic issue. I think it's like 1996 or maybe 2003. I think it's a 2003 issue about Afghanistan. And the album artwork is supposed to convey that amongst this cluttered world that we live in, when we look outside of the world, we can see the expanse of paradise. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, I know where you're coming from with this. It's yeah, it's a really unique thing. Like in all your artwork, it's just each album cover is just very dynamic. You know, there's like a different thing going on each time. So yeah, I like, yeah, it's one thing I noticed. I'm like, this album art, you know, this artwork is pretty unique. You know, it's not like some typical kind of thing you might see with most bands. Most bands are kind of going for this certain feel. I mean, a lot of people are maybe going for like that kind of typical kind of Ed Repka look, maybe like a lot of bands like that. But you know, it's like a different, you know, the collage thing is kind of cool. You know, it's definitely album artwork is something I always notice. You know, like even more than the music. Sometimes I'm like, oh, what's going on with this? You know, it's always just, you know, it's such an important thing to me. So yeah, very cool. Okay, so what about lyrically, like all the music and with Mental Breakdown? Like what is like your inspiration for the lyrics? You know, what are you thinking?
Lyrics are always inspired by title and music. So whatever the music is going for is what the lyrics are. Sometimes the lyrics don't even need to make much sense if it's going with the music. Um, Personally, I improvise 96% of my lyrics, and then I
Okay.
go back and I write them down. So whatever comes through the tube or through the ether, wherever that music is written, is what the lyrics are.
So how long does that take you? Like how quick do these things come out? You know, like how do you,
Sometimes it's one take, sometimes it's 1,000 takes.
yeah, yeah. Like how long would it say it took you to like write like all the words for just like Mental Breakdown?
Mental breakdown took me about a week.
A week. Okay. So what moody, like like, what's the writing process? Are you doing this with someone? Or you're just sitting down, just
I sit
locking yourself?
down, I hit the record button,
Yeah.
and then I scream into a
You
microphone,
just
is
go.
what
It's
I
like
do.
freestyle. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
And if it makes sense, it stays. If it doesn't make sense with the music, then it doesn't stay.
All right, I like how that's coming along. You know, your themes are pretty cool. You know, like the God on Speed thing. You know, that just jumps out at you. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is this, man? You know,
Well,
it's a good start for an album. You know.
I was in the hospital for about 9 days
Oh, what
due to a
happened?
mental breakdown. And this person that I was staying with, I was in the crazy ward, and I was taking reciprocal risperidone. I think that's what it was called. They were giving me risperidone pills, and this lady that I was sitting next to, it sounded like God on speed to me. It was like the way that she talked and the way that she
Right.
bickered at me personally kind of made me sound. It was some of the stuff that she was telling me was kind of personal. It's like, you know, I gave you free will in order for you to make the right decisions in your life, and now you're ending up here in the hospital. And it was like being talked to by this woman who seemed to be watching over my shoulder the entire time. So God on Speed was literally about this crazy person that seemed to know every single inch of my life up until that point. It was an unreal experience.
Wow. And you were like on something. You were on some sort of uh, like what is that drug you're on? What does that do?
I was on risperidone, which is an
What does that do?
antipsychotic.
Right. So what does that do to you?
What does that do to me? It
Yeah.
well, it's to treat psychosis and psychopathy. So it's kind of like taking when you're done drinking coffee and there's that dip in your energy level is what it really made me feel like. So I was sleeping for about 18 hours a day and trying to balance myself out with these drugs that they were giving me.
Man. Yeah, that's definitely. I think, you know, going through those experiences is just a lot of ammunition for lyrics. I mean, I think you have to just go to places that most people don't go to come up with stuff like that. You know, like you have to have some sort of just turmoil in your life, I think, to come up with stuff as effectively as you do. You know,
There was
like
a
some.
friend that I met when I was 18 years old who said the exact same thing. He said something along the lines that the more that you torture an artist, the more the art seems to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
So
Yeah,
The real question is, do we live in this universal idiom, I guess would be the right word, where you have one force that's there to torture and one force that's there to nurture?
hmm. Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. But I think just when I mean it's pretty typical. I think it's pretty well known that like when a band starts and they're uncomfortable and they're poor and nothing's going well, they come up with their best music. When you have someone like Metallica or something that literally has billions of dollars, how can you really expect them to come up with anything, you know, um, just listenable anymore when you're that rich? Nothing is real anymore, like and that goes with any artist, like in their the like progression of anyone's career. I mean, it's very few people that are really like successful and making tons of money and really comfortable with their lives that are really making music that anyone really wants to hear, especially in the metal genre. I mean, what do you think about that?
What's that?
Yeah, so what do you think about that? Like, like how once a band becomes really comfortable and rich, like they're just not able to write,
You
you
know,
know,
you can have
effective music anymore.
all the riches in the world, you can have every single woman love you, but deep down inside, there's always going to be something that will make you inherently uncomfortable.
Hmm.
So money really doesn't make people comfortable or uncomfortable. It's the environment that they place themselves in that makes them feel uncomfortable or comfortable. Money is simply a tool that people have. You could be Metallica and make those millions of dollars, but there will always be something there that will cause chaos and cause strife. Money doesn't mitigate it.
Hmm.
It's lifestyle choice that tends to mitigate that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I mean,
A rich
it's
band can write the best music in the world that speaks to thousands of people, just like a poor man's band can do the same thing.
hmm,
It's
it's a
all
good way of
about
looking at it.
environment.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Obviously some people with a lot of money still have demons. They still have addiction problems. They still it's still there. You're right. It's a good way of looking at it. You know, I mean, someone like I don't know, someone like Slayer could still like they were pretty rich. Like they're still their music isn't their last stuff wasn't terrible. You could look at it that way. They're still able to like come up with things. So yeah, it's a good way of looking at
Slayer
it.
will always be Slayer.
Yeah, exactly. That's not a band that did ballads. It's just they just did their thing forever, even when they were successful. So that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah. So it doesn't go for every band. You're right. So um, what was, or I'm going to say is or was at this point, the local music scene like in your environment? Like, what were bands doing? What was the band scene, in your town, in your area?
I mean, when I was growing up or now?
Now, pretty much now. I mean, not like right now. Obviously, this thing is kind of like I'm put on hold. But what was it like to you guys? Were you guys involved in that? Were you guys playing shows?
When I was young, I never played official shows. I used to play, we used to jam at my friend's house and we would have a couple of songs written and people would show up and listen, is how the music scene worked out when I was a teenager. Everyone that I knew was in a band or in some sort of group. That's how it was when I
What
was
what ye-
16 years old.
what year was that?
That was like 2008, 2009.
2008. Okay.
Um, People were learning how to use DAW tools. Um, Most people that I knew were still in school. Uh, at the same time, there was the Iraq and Afghanistan war going on. So I was living in an area that was heavily affected by the war and also affected by the economic downturn that was caused by that war. I remember when I was 16 years old and riding my bicycle along the levee, um, people were sleeping outside and burning their trash for warmth. Um, musically, we got excited over local acts, mostly like Arsonist Get All the Girls. Lots of people got excited over that band, and lots of people really loved that band. Post-hardcore was something that people like to listen to. Uh, I never really got into post-hardcore music as hard as some of my friends did.
Hmm.
Like I said, I was more into Black Flag. I was more into the Circle Jerks. I was more into Social Distortion. I was into Slayer. I was into early Metallica. I was into old school 1970s rock. Like I loved Black Sabbath and I loved Led Zeppelin and I loved Pink Floyd. I was a major Pink Floyd fan, even in the post Sid Barrett era. Um,
That's okay to say, you know. Sid Barrett was in the band for like 2 albums, so you know it's like you
yeah,
said,
I know. It's like,
no one's
but
gonna judge you.
no one's gonna judge for that. But the way that the mentality of musicians nowadays and some of the younger folk is that only the Sid Barrett era is the good era of Pink Floyd, you know?
Yeah, it's like saying, you know, only the Peter Gabriel is good for Genesis. You know, like come on, it's Phil Collins is good too. You know, it's like
Okay, but there's a significant difference between Peter Gabriel and Sid, you know?
yes,
But
different, definitely different. Yes, but
I
yeah,
mean, and
there
most
was a lot of
people, how do I put it? Most people were not interested in hearing something off of volume 2 as opposed to something from Dance Gavin Dance.
okay,
That's how it was for me.
okay, I hear you.
Uh, but with that said, you know, there was a lot of good music, but at the same time, there were some hard times that people had to get through and had to be motivated through. At 16 years old, we're not getting a whole lot of promotion tools out there. We're not
Hmm.
seeking interviews. 2008, 2009, most bands were like our friends,
Okay,
you know?
okay,
So it
makes
was
sense.
like your group of, you know, at that age, it was your group of friends who were in bands and then some local act that everyone seemed to enjoy,
Right.
which at the time for me was Arsonists Get All the Girls.
Okay. Now, were you going to like clubs in like San Francisco or San Jose or what was
Santa
your
Cruz,
Santa Cruz?
there was a
Okay, yeah,
lot of house shows and a lot of shows at churches. I
okay,
remember when I was 14 years old, there was a couple of shows in Salinas that were held at people's churches and also in people's houses.
okay,
Um, Santa Cruz has a club called the Catalyst, and they would let 16-year-olds in to watch ska shows.
okay. I remember those days.
So yeah,
We had that up here too. Oh yeah, it was.
yeah,
I'm talking back in 1990s though. Like that was. There were clubs in New York City. We'd go just to see these afternoon ska shows. Yeah, that was. I'm talking 1995. So yeah, I was. You know, I was that. I was like 18 in 1995. So you know,
yeah.
it was a different thing. The internet had a very limited place in music back then. You know, it's a completely different thing today. But a lot of things I like about today is any band like you guys can have your Bandcamp page. Like any band has the power and the opportunity really to get their own message out there. You don't have to rely on record labels anymore. I think record labels are obsolete. Like I don't know why anyone would want to be signed these days. I think it's just a waste of time. You know, there's no point in it. Like there's certain bands out there that are completely self-sustained, like a band like Clutch, for example. You know, I know, you know, people are like, oh, Clutch, but you know, they're like a self-sustained band though. It's an example of a band that's just doing their own thing. And I think that's a lot of bands have the opportunity to do that, you know, so like,
That opportunity has been around ever since I was a teenager,
right.
and teenagers took advantage of it. I
Yes.
mean,
Your
I was in a
generation did.
band. I was in a power violence band when I was like 16 years old. It was called Hydra Rising, and we covered everything under the sun. And we also took advantage of the internet. It's still out there. It's on Reverb Nation. Um, I think one of the reasons that a band would seek being signed is for the monetary stability that a record label could possibly provide for an individual or for the band itself.
I think it depends on the level you're at to really. I know a lot of signed bands that you know monetarily they still have jobs. You know, like
Yeah,
it's not that good. It's not that much of a walk in the park. So you know, and record labels like there's certain things like if you don't sell certain deals, you don't sell enough albums, they send you a bill. You know, like it's not a walk in the park. It sounds like a terrible thing to be involved with. You know, like unless you're some really big band that just has this great deal you know, for most bands, I think most bands that like you and me would like that are just that sort of like a medium level that aren't playing stadiums or whatever. Maybe they're on tour in clubs and in halls and stuff. Like they're working for a living. You know, they're working really hard. And right now, I don't know, they're going to just have to get jobs again. Like, what the fuck are they going to do right now? Like, how many bands are going to get through this? You know?
Not many bands live. Not many bands live off their own record
Yeah,
deals. Does that
yeah,
make? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like,
I work at FedEx,
okay, yeah. So
so
so you're obviously, but like right now, like you're still, employed, like you're still,
yep.
you're still delivering and stuff. Like me, like I'm furloughed right now, like maybe I might be able to go to work next week. I think, I don't know. No, there's no guarantee, so like, and for bands, forget it. Like that, I don't even know. Like we were supposed to see so many bands this summer. It's all gone. Everything. There's nothing. We were going to go to Psycho. We had all these plans. Just, it's all gone. So all those bands, everything, it's gone. All those festivals, it's gone. So I don't even know. I don't even know what's going to happen, for that whole industry just evaporated overnight. So don't know. I hope they figure out something. I hope these bands could survive somehow, but I don't know. Just buy the merch, I guess. That's all they got right now.
Well,
I don't know.
like it was back in the '80s, with some of the best bands out there, it's always going to be word of mouth,
Mm-hmm.
and also how good your promoter is.
Yeah. Yeah. You just
How
got to get the
motivated
word.
your band is, and how good your promoter is will definitely get
Yeah.
groups of people
Yeah.
far in this world.
They'll survive, but yeah, it's crazy time. So, like if, if like things do go back to normal, do you eventually want to play, like, I don't know if you guys are really a live band, but do you guys like want to go in that direction though, to like get a band,
Yeah,
like, yeah, to get like
definitely. When things return back to normal, the gigs will be sought after again.
we're
It's
you
hard. You have to contact promoters and you have to contact the
yes,
clubs, and depending on how many people you draw is what they determine the next show. But
yeah,
it's a difficult world.
yeah, being someone that joins someone else's band, like I've never really been in the band scene. Like I play guitar and stuff, and recently I joined someone else's band, someone that has experience in the, in like the, in the scene. And I was just surprised how hard it is. And this person really does all the work. They talk to promoters, and I was just amazed all the politics involved. I was ignorant to all this. I thought you kind of just call a club, and if you're good with the guy, he lets you in. Now it is like it's like an entire political system of people you need to know. And I was amazed like how everything, I'm like, wow, this sucks. This is life here. This is fucking pointless, especially around here where there's like, I mean, in New Jersey, I mean, the scene here in North Jersey is it's limited at this point. I mean, I don't know if you want to even call it a scene. It's just like, there's
Not
not a lot
happening.
there's not a lot coming out of here. There's a couple sort of like hardcore bands hanging around, but there's nothing big coming out of here. There's nothing like huge coming out of here. There hasn't been like a name that came out of this area in a while, since the Misfits, I guess. Yeah,
The
I don't want to
scene doesn't
exaggerate.
necessarily have to be made by one name. It's
Mm,
usually made by 1,000 names.
yeah, right. Yeah,
That's one thing that I've noticed about every music scene there is. It's always 1,000 names. It's never one big name. Your friends don't drop names that are
right.
just one. They drop 1,000. So in order to have a scene, you need more than one band. There's the band that makes it, and then there are the bands that continue it. And the
Yeah,
bands that make it, they usually separate themselves from the ones that continue the scene.
it's a very good point. It's a very good point. Yeah. So, those are all the questions I have for you, Alfred. Anything else you want to add?
Nope,
Anything
that's
you
it.
want to promote or anything? Um,
Yeah, buy my album Mental Breakdown. Check me out on Facebook. It's BullVine the band. Send me an email. It's bullvineband@gmail.com. I'm usually pretty good at responding to messages on Facebook and things like that.
okay. Cool. I'm gonna put all your links on the on the YouTube, so I'll put all your links down there, for your Bandcamp and all your stuff. So, so yeah, so people can contact you. So, yeah, Alfred. So thanks for asking for this interview, because I know you had us listen to one of your albums before, and I hope you liked the review. I think we were pretty nice to you. We're usually nice to bands. We like to do, me and my wife, we like to do bands that are like unknown mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And, so we like to find like unknown bands. So I'm glad you contacted me.
No problem.
So thank you very much. And yeah, you know what? I'll probably I'll probably do our next small music review. I'll probably do your album. What the hell? I'll do your new album. We'll do a review on your new album. So we'll add it in there. So
Thank you.
Give you guys a shout out. I mean, we're a growing thing. I mean, I don't have a lot of followers. Everyone pretty much hates me on YouTube. I get like a lot of hatred. I mean, you probably see my videos. You probably understand why. Because I talk a lot of shit. I can't help it. I can't. I'm not in there to like get like monetized, and I don't. And I don't care. I can't help myself, and I can't speak nicely about things. So like but for you like small bands and stuff, like I can never say bad things about you guys because I know where you guys are at, and I know what you guys are going through. So so very cool, Alfred. So yeah, so once again, thanks, Alfred, and I'm gonna put this up soon. All right, so all right, so you have a good night. And,
you too.
All right, Alfred, and we'll keep in contact. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Good luck in Jersey.
Thank you very much. Good luck out there. Take care, man.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.